So good evening everyone. My voice is audible at the back also. Is my voice audible at the back? To the backbenchers? Okay. So a long session for you. We'll be taking social issues. But first of all, I would like to know that how many of you face problems in making notes out of newspapers from social issues? Do you all know how to make notes from social issues? No? Okay. Again, a very important point. You are aiming to write and sit for a UPSC examination, not an examination of university. Social issues, although they are very controversial, you may have emotional linkage with one or the particular issue, but then you don't have to look any social issue from any biasness. You may belong to a community or a caste. You may belong to a section. Suppose there is a hot burning issue, for example, Jat protests, for example, JNU protests. So you don't have to see that issue from emotional point of view. What you have to say in the interview, what you have to write in the mains, and how you have to attempt in prelims, all requires an objective and rational thinking. And how to develop and how to see an objective and rational thinking in social issues is what I'll deal mostly in every social issue which we'll be taking today, right? Social issues are to be seen from different dimensions because any social issue has a historical genesis, socio-cultural genesis, even an economic reason behind it, a political reason behind it. Okay? So first you have to categorize any social issue from these dimensions. Then what you have to see is that particular social issue, does it have any implication in the form of Supreme Court? Does Supreme Court has said something on it? Does the constitution has any provision related to that social issue? That should be clear in your mind. Any opinion contradicting with Supreme Court of and High Court also must be known to you. Any opinion contradicting with Supreme Court, that too of the government, be it central government or state government, should be known to you. All such things are important only to arrive at an objective conclusion, so that you have an objective opinion. You don't have to sway in any emotional turmoil after seeing an issue or after being spoken. See, this is not a debate. This exam is not about debate which you can have with your friends कि JNU anti-national university है या नहीं. Understanding my point of view? You don't have to say like that. You are living in a country where diverse cultures, where diverse religion, even the Supreme Court has given this freedom of speech and expression, right? So you have to see that social issue from that perspective. Understanding what I mean to say? Okay? Jat protest, reservation demands. Don't get emotional. Okay? Reservation demands, agar question aayega in UPSC from this topic, it would not be why Jats are protesting. Question would come that do we need a revisit on reservation policy? Why do agricultural communities like Jats or Kapus are claiming for reservation? Why this sudden change? Why this hue and cry all of a sudden among these communities? Remember, there was a question in 2014 that why do prosperous regions have adverse sex ratio, right? So can't we have a question like this, that prosperous regions or high investment regions like Gujarat, Haryana, Andhra Pradesh, why reservation demands in such areas? Anyone who's preparing for interview, anyone who's writing, any answer in it?
Scheduled tribes and minorities have risen up. It has sort of affected the powers of the people who are originally in power.
Okay.
The higher castes. So majority of them, some of them may also today want to be considered.
We'll discuss all such issues. Huh? I'll come to the reasons. I just want to bring to your notice that how you have to deal with such an issue from all these dimensions. That what should be the parameter of a new reservation policy? anyone belonging to any community which has been given reservation would make this claim that why do we have to revisit the reservation policy. See, any mindset displaying any regressive attitude, not in the times, not in sync with the times, would always display this attitude towards the interview board that you are not accepting change. See, society is changing. Constitution itself is a living document. Constitution is being amended. New laws, new perspectives are being generated by Supreme Court, which has never been thought of that it could say like that. So, since society is changing and a dynamic reality, you also, being a change agent in the administration, should display change attitude, right? Now, whatever reasons we have to see in this demand, particularly Jat reservation, we have to see from different dimensions. Again, historical, economic, socio-cultural, political and relative deprivation, the kind of point which you raised, relative deprivation on already existing reservations. Historical, yes, it's accepted that they are agricultural communities. Land holdings have decreased. There has been a bounded agricultural incomes, a cut in agricultural incomes. Since they are agricultural communities, they are socially regressive and not progressive. And there is a reason, a big reason why Jats are not socially progressive. Reason being, see, Green Revolution, everyone knows, 1960s. What happened in these regions? That they witnessed rural prosperity, but they did not witness social prosperity. By the word social prosperity, I mean they became more traditional, they became more conservative, they became more patriarchal. They did not have the need to migrate because they were having such a boom in agricultural land fields. Getting what I am saying? So they are socially backward, they are educationally backward, but that does not call for reservation. One point. Okay. Second point, economy. We've had jobless growth. We've had jobless growth. Unemployment is being witnessed by every caste and community, right? Be it a forward caste, be it a backward caste. Every caste class is witnessing unemployment. Jats particularly, since because also revenue or agricultural land holdings have become lessened, that's also the reason why unemployment is being impacted to the younger generation more. And more so, the earlier point which I made, that they did not migrate, they did not went for education, is also one of the reasons that unemployment avenues are closed to them. The only avenue is government jobs. Why? Even if they have opportunities in IT sector, they don't know how to speak English. They are culturally backward. They are not English babu. Understanding? So all these reasons also again making them claim for reservation benefits. Third, socio-cultural. Socio-cultural, क्या होंगे socio-cultural? Sex ratio कैसा है in Haryana? Very less. Why? Why? पेट्रियार्की. क्यों? एग्रीकल्चर से रिलेट करो पेट्रियार्की को. More demand for males and not females. Plus again green revolution, social impact and advent of technologies like ultrasound machines and sex determination techniques. They now get to know more on what is the sex of the fetus. So child sex ratio is less and even the sex ratio is less. Now if the sex ratio is less, just imagine, will they be having brides for them? No. No brides. Even if parents of a girl are searching for a groom, what would be the first preference, or who would be the first preference? One who's having a government job, a stable career, which the guys of Haryana are not having. Again a pinch. Again a pinch, a very important pinch. That's why reservation demand at such a vigor, with so vigorously. ठीक है, अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट का पिंच तो है, ये वाला पिंच भी है. ठीक है. What else? Political. Yes, they have been played politically many times. They have been demanded that we'll give you reservation by different political parties, but they haven't. They have been lured to come up and implement schemes like Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. Which was the first district in which the scheme started? Panipat. Again Haryana. That calls for social change, but again a promise. Implement the scheme, we'll give you the benefits. Okay? They have been politically misused, and it's not they. The whole reservation debate is being misused over the years. Okay? Relative deprivation. The point relative deprivation is in context of other communities which have been given backward caste status on the same parameters as the Jats are, like Gujars, Ahirs, Yadavs. They are not given reservation. If we say Yadavs are politically dominant, Jats are also politically dominant. They would compare, no? Won't they compare? So that's why again a vigorous and a rigorous attempt by Jat community on this basis, that if we are also backward, we are socially progressive, we have been not given the reservation benefit, then why not? Now, why not has been answered by Supreme Court, and that's what you have to say. What was the basis on Supreme Court question this provision of giving reservation to Jats by the UPA order in 2014? That caste cannot be the sole criteria of backwardness. A mere wrong inclusion of a particular caste cannot be again a motivator to wrongly include another caste. Okay? That is accepted. Then what you have to know in this issue is Indira Sahni case and Mandal Commission. We won't get into details, I'll just discuss few of the provisions. What did Mandal Commission do? That it gave 27% reservation to OBCs. Other thing which it did was that it also proposed that the reservation benefit would not only limit to the initial appointment but also in promotion, which Supreme Court later quashed. Also, it asked for that there should be inclusion of creamy layer in the OBC list, which again Supreme Court, or in Indira Sahni case, it was quashed. So what you have to see in this issue is first the Mandal Commission and the Indira Sahni case judgment. Okay. Now the most important thing which you should know from examination point of view, how do we look into this reservation demand? How do we solve it? You are all sitting here representing younger generation. You should give the answer. What should be the basis if we are seeing any reservation policy in a fresh attempt? What would be the parameters? What would you say? And on what basis you would say? Come on. We are not talking about scheduled caste and scheduled tribe reservation. I am just dealing with OBC reservation, because in again SC/ST reservations are not just entitlements. Reservation is also bridging the gap between the social discrimination they have faced all these years. Okay. In context of OBC is what I am asking you. First is merit. Okay. Does anyone know on what basis the different castes were included into OBC category? Which data? 1931 data. Don't we have to have this urge to look into such facts and figures from a new data, that is SEC 2011. The other solution which I feel that should be there is that why isn't political parties making public the socio-economic caste census? We have conducted, no? Why is caste census not being made public? Because again, that would call for political manipulation. They would not be able to include the already existing categories in reservation. Understanding? So, as an objective uh, viewpoint, what you should have in your mind is that we should make SEC data public, right? What else? एक हो गया merit, दूसरा हो गया SEC, then what else? Creamy layer is already excluded. वो अलग बात है that creamy layer is again taking benefits. That has to be stopped. हाँ. Okay, one family who has been given reservation benefits should not be included. Okay.
Transparent and objective revision of the OBC list.
Yes, OBC list again on the basis of latest data and not 1931 data. What else?
What I think, ma'am, like we should look at the educational background of the previous generation of the
See.
and in that case, at the same time, we should also look on the economic status of the family overall, and then we should think of.
See, there has been inequality and it would remain. Are you in terms with it? Will inequality be vanished from the society all over the world? No, right? What we have to do is that we have to either create the jobs, which should be the responsibility of the state, or schemes like Startup India should be promoted. That if you are not asking for a job, at least you should have some capital to give jobs. See, you have to be a little bit realistic and you have to have a change, another point. Reservation debates should not be linked with political discourse but development discourse. What we mean by development is that reservation should not be seen from only the perspective of political parties always maneuvering the votes, but should be seen from emancipatory perspective, from development perspective. See, reservation अगर दे रहे हैं, वो किस लिए दे रहे हैं? To sustain generations to generations of the same family? No. No.
Bring the family into the mainstream.
Yes, to bring the family in the mainstream.
Ma'am, there could be many legal remedies for reservations.
Like,
But the inclusion of economic criteria along with the caste criteria, that could be one solution. Or the revision of the OBC list according to the
Latest census,
data. But the bigger question is that in what time and how many categories should be included in those lists, because today is Jat protesting and tomorrow maybe
would be forward castes protest, right?
And there is high possibility that the forward caste will protest
Yes.
because they are already empowered and they are losing their the position in the society because of the empowerment of the underprivileged society. That has been as a result of Mandal Commission or the inclusion of constitutional facilities. So, in what time we will doing the reservation that so that there could be a permanent solution?
See, permanent solution can only come from the state and entrepreneurs. Schemes like Startup India, schemes like Mudra Loan Bank. हाँ.
Reservation from the other point of view, we always observe that the reservation is only about the public sector jobs. It is not about the private sector jobs. So if we talk in that term, like schemes like Startup India or any kind of such motivation given to the private individuals to do such thing privately is nowhere related to the reservation.
Ricky. Yeah, that's what once.
It is more inclined to the public sector jobs rather than to the private sector jobs.
That's why, no? That's why people should become self-sufficient.
Kind of reservation system in any of the private companies or MNCs.
See, why public sector also is not related to reservation or caste. It's about the mindset. Why you all craving for UPSC? Can't people having lakhs of packages are leaving private sector jobs to come into this service? please don't say that you only have a serving motive to come here. You are vying for stability, you are vying for durability, you are vying for consistency, you are vying for power. So it's not, see, reservation, you please don't see from the light of they demanding public sector jobs only. Everyone would demand. The time would come, the forward castes would also revolt to have jobs, because jobs are not enough in India. And jobs, if not enough in India, even if we are giving reservation to many, I am saying that, chalo, let's create this possibility that Supreme Court would go beyond 50%. Sabko de diya, suppose.
That is the solution, ma'am.
That is a solution. Okay.
Ma'am, the reservation should be like, you know, 11%
Proportionate. See, a more progressive and positive society would be when there is no need for reservation.
Like, I'm not talking about the reservation. It is like whatever is the constituent of your population, I mean your particular sector in the whole of the population shall be given to that particular.
Okay, we'll keep on debating on reservation. Any new point to make? How do we revisit or relook reservation policy?
There should be time frame criteria that we should revisit the reservation time and again after 5
Yes,
years.
yes, 10 years or maybe 20 years. Huh. Okay, you?
Can we say that the frustration in the new generation and they find that reservation is the escape? Like, we got reservation, that's why it's selected.
See,
And that's
if we say no, if my personal opinion, I see this whole reservation issue a paradox or a versus between mandalization politics and globalization of economy. Understanding what I mean to say? That there are political masters versus already existing job crunch, and they are just pulling the benefits. Yes.
Ma'am, the bulk of reservation is in higher education, public sector jobs, right? So the problem comes because our primary education infrastructure is weak. So I think the long-term solution would be to
Yes.
strengthen the primary.
Yes, that's what's the point I was looking for. See, we have to have long-term solution. Solution would not be reservation per reservation or reservation to all. Solution would be that we have to make our economy or a country having good infrastructure, good education, access to health services to all, so that there does not arise any need for reservation. We should become employers. We should not become employment seekers. That's the whole mantra of the new government.
And also, I mean, if we are looking at the trend of protests, it has happened recently, which is that directly or indirectly linked to the slowdown of private
Private
sector
sector.
growth in the last 5 years. So we should try to revive that and also expand the pie in a way that to encourage
Yes.
a sense of competition.
Yes.
Rather than going towards public sector jobs.
Only.
If we totally make this economy capitalistic, then the reservation problem will.
No, we cannot say that.
Now they should make the bodies like National Commission for Backward Classes totally inclusive, like Election Commission. It would do the inclusion thing, exclusion thing, periodic, transparent, every powers.
Hmm.
And we see that these bodies are subordinate to the government.
Government.
So
Okay.
if we make them independent, they will adopt the scientific
Okay, that would be the
parameters.
new point, that either make NCBC or commissions like NCBC appointment, particularly appointment, political free.
And like discrimination or to have age with other community is in our mind, is in our human psychology. So like there is a reason today we see the trend of reservations. So it is about seeking the opportunity to have better economic status based on the caste criteria. So if we like promote the social awareness, like promoting the inter-caste marriages or something where the two different kind of community get involved, so that in the long term caste differences got removed.
Yes.
That would be a
Yes. Okay. Any other point? reservation. So what I wanted to make you clear is that you don't have to see this issue only from the perspective of Jat community. The questions, if it would come in UPSC, it would come from the reservation policy as such needing a revival. ठीक है? A reform, not revival but a reform. ठीक है? Now another issue, women entry in temples. Already this issue has been dealt here and there in the first December current affairs session, but I'll again redo it. Women entry in temples, again someone can tell me how to look this issue from the parameters which we have discussed. What is the constitutional angle behind it? What are the two articles which are in conflict with each other? One is right to equality versus right to religion. Second, what is the social genesis behind it? The religious genesis behind it, the cultural genesis behind it is always rooted in either the religious theme of that deity of the temple or patriarchy. ठीक है? We cannot say that which constitutional provision is supreme over the other. Understanding what I mean to say? When the Supreme Court has included both right to equality and right to religion, specifically articles like 25 and 26, which says that every sect or denomination or religious entity is free to propagate and profess one's own religious identity, then it is valid. We cannot say that they debarring it is wrong. But what we again have to see in this issue is that we cannot be regressive. Concepts like purity and pollution are again manifestation or have been dominated by the priestly class since time immemorial, right? So we cannot say till the time any Supreme Court judgment says that it should not happen, because Supreme Court in such cases like Sabrimala or Shani Shignapur temple controversy has always asked for the logic behind it, that on what logic temple authorities are debarring women. They have to provide the logic. If the logic is accepted by the Supreme Court, then only we can have a final say on it. What other thing you should see into this issue is a doctrine of essential religious practices. Is there someone who has attended the first session where I dealt with doctrine of essential religious practices? What does it mean? No? याद नहीं है? हाँ. Okay. And who has the say? Who can interpret that doctrine of essential religious practices? No. The Supreme Court. The Supreme Court would define what constitutes the doctrine of essential religious practices. That's the major point which I wanted to highlight. So this tendency of Supreme Court defining what constitutes essential religious practices or what is the logic behind how it is valid and how, in what grounds it is invalid, is also termed as judicial-papism. You already know judicial overreach, judicial activism. This is called judicial-papism. Okay? When judiciary intervenes into explaining religious doctrines or interpreting religious doctrines. Okay? That has happened in Santhara case. That has also happened in, if the court would ask or take a final session on or a hearing plea on Sabrimala and Shani Shignapur. Okay, so again the thing is that you don't have to be emotional from a feminist perspective कि भाई हमें जाने नहीं दे रहे हैं, ठीक है? What you have to see is that what are the legal provisions, what are the constitutional provisions given to you, what is the objective criteria on which you can say that we should be allowed, we should not be allowed, we means women, ठीक है? Or what is the Supreme Court take on it? हाँ.
Isn't it against the secular principles where the government is involving with the religious beliefs of one particular community?
Against the secular beliefs? How? I didn't understand.
No, the thing is like it's a personal matter. Religion is a personal
Yes.
matter, right? And getting into some religious principles
principles and dictating terms on it, isn't it against the secular principle?
It's not secular principles.
Constitution says that the state can interfere in public.
Yes. Even this, and even this.
If that is the case, they are just looking into the temples, not the mosque.
Yeah, that's what, na. There is a Haji Ali case still pending. The judgment has not come. That's why I'm saying that this issue should be seen only, or you should have a constructive opinion only when Supreme Court says something on it constructively. Again, this issue is very controversial. To skim or to escape from any controversy, you should have an objective opinion that what are the constitutional provisions. Constitutional provisions are Article 14 versus Article 25 and 26. We cannot say that right to religion is supreme and right to equality is not supreme. Okay? But in your opinion, what you can add is that society has to be progressive. If customs like sati or child marriage are looked down upon, even entry into temples of women should not be seen from that light, that they should still exist. Okay? Yes, there are personal laws. No one can say that you should not implement your laws. No one can debar anyone in a country like India where secularism is the basic feature of the constitution, that you cannot practice your own religion according to your religious doctrines. That is not allowed, no. It's given in the Article 25 to 27. They cannot take back.
Muslim law board has insisted their women in their not independent behavior of their religion only.
Sorry?
Muslim law board is imposing their rules on their Muslim.
Yes, but Supreme Court is not intervening. No, see, Uniform Civil Code has not yet been implemented. The major reason is that's what UPSC has also asked, that why UCC is not practical in a country like India. It is not practical, that is being accepted even by the Constitution, the Supreme Court and even by UPSC by asking you. You are just provided to give the objective rationale behind why it cannot be implemented in letter and spirit and what should be the way forward. That's what you are required for this examination. Again, what you can do is that you can sway into again any controversial debates with your friends. That's not the objective of we holding such an important series for you. We are giving you a current affairs session not to have debates and discussion, but to have an objective picture of any social issue which you can write and say in the front of interview board and mains examination. ठीक है?
Doctrine of essential religious practices, is it valid for the religious institution which is not funded by the government? I mean, Article 27 has empowered the institution to manage their own religious affairs.
That's what.
Yeah, and government can't interfere when it is not funding the religious institutions.
Then also.
Then also usually can.
That's what is judicial papism. ठीक है? हाँ. I didn't get you. Can you be louder? They can. See, what was the controversy in Sabrimala temple? That Lord Ayappa was a brahmachari. Okay? So, what was the ground given by the temple authorities? That women, because we want to protect the vow taken by Lord Ayappa to remain brahmacharya all his life, that's why we are debarring women to enter into the Sancto Sanctorum.
Ma'am, actually, Article 20.
Feeling or right of single person cannot be done.
Ma'am,
Sorry, one by one. हाँ.
Article 25 and 26 of the
हाँ.
Constitution give religious rights to individuals and religious institutions, but they are not absolute. There is something like public order, morality, and the contemporary morality.
हाँ, but the interpretation would be judged by Supreme Court only.
Supreme Court decides the contemporary morality says that
They should be allowed. That's what I'm.
This
हाँ.
journalism which is being
That's
done
what. See, what was this Sabrimala issue? See, women were debarred from entering temples since long. Why such a demand just now? there is a hidden intention also of some NGOs of becoming popular. There is something called paid journalism. There is something called intrusion of. Huh? I am not saying that it is not right. I'm. That's what I'm saying, that society. I'm just giving you a different dimension, that in such a short period, India as a country is witnessing so many revolts, so many discussions and debates. Why JNU? Why NGO funding? Why this IPL controversy? Or why everything? Why terrorism? I'm just giving you from this perspective. Okay. IB report has said something on NGOs. IB report has also said about certain campaigns being anti-national, deliberately infused in the minds of Indians, right? But again, these are all debates. This you don't have to say in UPSC examination or write in UPSC examination. What you have to do is that you have to be objective. Okay? Devdasi system. Again an important one, existing but banned already. Banned already since 1934. If laws are there which is banning such practices, why practice like Devdasi system still being continued? Okay? That would be the question. The lacuna in our law implementation, law enforcement. What you have to see in this issue again is historical genesis, social injustice, economic deprivation, health, legal provisions and way out. That's how you have to make notes, because again you would drift away and come into and discuss debates surrounding this issue. From examination point of view, you have to do that. Historical genesis. Cholas, Cheras, Tanjore, South, even Somnath temple, Lord Jagannath temple, we have found out traces or inscriptions related to Devdasi system practiced since ancient times. Even one theory suggests that when Buddhism was in its downfall, you remember, if someone has read Ancient India book, that women were allowed to enter into Buddhist order. So what happened to those Buddhist nuns? Turned into Devdasi. This is another opinion, historical opinion. One is inscription, the other is opinion of some historians that after the fall of Buddhism also, this Devdasi system flourished. Another opinion is the feudal and priestly class nexus on the lowest of the lowest people. That women or girls from the lowest section of society were picked up in the name of increasing land fertility. Fertility is always associated with women. They were given in the service of God to always maintain village ka prosperity. Okay. So all such things you should know, but you don't have to write that much. I am just explaining you. Then the issues in Devdasi. What is a Devdasi system actually? To the priest or the god. ये आशीर्वाद कितना सुना है, सदा सुहागन रहो, सुनते हैं ना? Sada Suhagan genesis is from here. That why, how can a woman remain Sada Suhagan unless and until they are not married to a god? Does God die? Do they die? No. And how are men perceived in our Indian society that they are God? That's why Sada Suhagan. अच्छा, हाँ, I agree. Okay. A good point though. ठीक है, that is from patriarchal mindset. Again, है ना? ठीक है. Economic deprivation, economic reason. Mostly the girls offered to the service of the god or the priest are very poor. Poverty is the major cause, also girls getting trapped into this social or regressive practice still. What else?
Agrarian society.
Again, yes, agrarian society. What else? If case study comes that you as a police officer found out that there is being practiced this Devdasi system. It happens once a year in Karnataka, where females are given to the god in the name of God. Suppose you have to stop that practice. This case study comes. What steps will you take? Have you ever given it a thought? If it is still persisting, it is banned. Why aren't police officers, judiciary not able to put a check on it? Because it's attached to religion. It is attached to fear of God, that they would get the wrath of the God if they stop this practice.
Acceptance in society is there.
That too I agree.
Change in mindset by different programs being conducted, different intervals in the village where it's happening, by bringing social change.
By bringing social change. Because if this question would come, it would not come in paper one, it would come as a case study. ठीक है? तो from case study point of view, what steps from long term perspective, they ask you na, long term solutions and short term solutions, what would you take?
Powerful people given the political class would be involved, that is the main reason why.
Yes, agreed.
Long term could be involving women in economic mainstream, providing them jobs or educating them well. That can be.
Okay.
Instead of involving directly, we can involve the local panchayat levels, mukhiyas or the
Yes.
president. So they are directly emotionally attached to the local.
Yes, actually that is a very good point what you should write in your case studies, that from the root of the problem, from where it is coming, no, you should target that. Target the person or the authority from which it is coming, the priests. If some priests stand up, if you are able to make priests realize that this should be stopped, it can be stopped. ठीक है? हाँ, what else? And why is it so criticized? What is the social injustices met to them? They are not allowed to marry anyone. They are not allowed to work outside the temple. So which rights are taken? Human rights and economic rights. Then in the name of Devdasi system, they are pushed or forced into prostitution. And that is also being accepted by Supreme Court, that it is nothing but ritualized prostitution. And Supreme Court had said very categorically that the center and the state governments should take steps to check this practice. ठीक है? What else? और क्या solutions दोगे?
Democracy in religious institutions also.
Democracy.
In the selection, like bringing in girls for
Yes.
class.
हाँ, good point.
One common solution to every social problem is educating the people who are being affected by this.
Education and also awareness.
Making them aware, organizing campaigns and all.
वो तो आपका pet statement रहेगा सब answers में.
That is the common solution.
Common. It's sorry to make it more sound like as if we should laugh, but it is what we have to do. We cannot do anything beyond it. ठीक है? Okay. हाँ. This you can note down or you can download, that Devdasi system contravenes section 370, 370A and 372 of IPC. Besides what the actual act already has banned in 1934, Devdasi Security Act. ठीक है? It's downloadable. You want to write it? Okay. How many of you are watching this serial on Colors on Devdasi? No? Acha, I forgot that you are all aspiring to become civil servant who are not allowed to watch TV. Okay. But there is
I
a
have a background of it, they treated Ganga as the lead role in the small girl.
यस ठीक है. बालिका वधू तो सुना होगा. सास बहू नहीं, सास बहू का मैं दूसरे में एग्जाम्पल दूंगी. रुक जाओ. हाँ.
There is a pull and push factor.
सॉरी.
There is a pull and push factor.
पुल एंड पुश फैक्टर. यस.
Yeah, both are initially ideologically motivated based on the release.
यस 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 यस.
So there is no alternative way of getting employment of the means of living. Most of the places where this kind of system observes are very poor regions, or most of the people are poor. So if we can provide the alternative way of employment, so we can connect to them the economic job.
Employment तो only can happen first when they are allowed to work. They are not allowed to work. They are only required to either clean the temples or dance. ठीक है. वर्क उनके लिए वही है.
क्योंकि इसमें जो है वो स्ट्रेस सेक्शन सोसाइटी के में ज़्यादा इन्वॉल्व होते हैं. गाँव में भी देखिए ऊपर के
नहीं होते हैं. हाँ, आई एम एग्रीइंग विद इट दैट द women from lower caste and from the economically weaker section are being trapped into this system. ठीक है. This is also another issue which is contemporary and which can be asked in paper 1 also. Can anyone tell me that why surrogacy from paper 1 perspective? What are the topics which can be the reason for increase in surrogacy? ये वो बड़े बड़े पॉइंट टाइटल्स नहीं ढूंढ रही मैं. Late marriages, infertility from health perspective are the biggest factors contributing to go for surrogacy. Late marriages, career opportunities, infertility is what is driving people more towards surrogacy. That is the contemporary change from which you have to see the issue. भाई surrogacy क्यों होगा? What is surrogacy actually? Hiring a womb, okay. Okay. Acha. Then what is traditional surrogacy, gestational surrogacy and altruistic surrogacy? Traditional, I'll explain you. Traditional surrogacy is when the sperms of the father, the actual father of the couple who wants a child, is being artificially transmitted to any other woman. So that woman is a both genetic and surrogate mother. Just keep my words in your head that in traditional surrogacy, the mother who is carrying a child is both genetic and surrogate mother. The difference between gestational and traditional surrogacy is that the couple who want a child, the eggs of the mother of the couple, the wife, and the sperms of the father would be transmitted again through IVF into the other woman. So that woman would only be called a surrogate mother, not a genetic mother. And what is altruistic surrogacy? That there is no commercial or financial exchange to rent a womb, to bear or carry a child. ठीक है? Charity में, in simple words. Philanthropy. Understood? Because these words can be asked again in the case studies from psychological and legal perspective. When it comes to claiming rights, the traditional surrogacy, the mother should have a right or can have a right. But in gestational, she cannot. So what laws are there what laws need to be there to keep these concerns or types of surrogacy in place. ठीक है? Sorry, you didn't get the difference.
When it was practiced.
ट्रेडिशनल सरोगेसी तो यार जब से टेक्नोलॉजीज आई तब से, मतलब इट कैन बी डन फ्रॉम अदर वे ऑल्सो, नॉट गेटिंग इन टू द टेक्नोलॉजीज. ठीक है, वो फिर हो जाएगा इनफिडिलिटी, अ काइंड ऑफ इनफिडिलिटी. ठीक है, अंडरस्टैंडिंग व्हाट आई मीन टू से, दैट ट्रेडिशनल सरोगेसी कैन टेक प्लेस फ्रॉम अ यूनियन बिटवीन अ मैन एंड अ वुमन बिसाइड्स यूजिंग टेक्निक्स, मेडिकल टेक्निक्स. ठीक है, हाँ. इश्यूज इन्वॉल्व, क्या इश्यूज होंगे सरोगेट मदर के? अभी रिसेंटली किस फिल्म एक्टर ने सरोगेसी करी है? एक तो शाहरुख खान और दूसरा आमिर खान. नीड अगेन, दे डोंट वांट टू, क्या फिगर खराब हो जाएगा? Infertility can also be the cause, but figure can also be the cause. Those who are in the glamour industry, they can have this issue, no? When this option is available, why can't they go for it? They don't have time. They cannot bear 9 months. ठीक है, चलो ये तो again हाँ, exactly. What else? The issues. Even why I gave you the difference between traditional and gestational surrogacy is claiming of rights. What if the child born is disabled? What if the child born is abandoned later? Then who should be given the custody? A genetic mother should be given the responsibility if it's being abandoned by the father. All such things was important to be known to you. That's why I gave you the difference. The thing is, the issues are from economic perspective. This industry right now present is of around 23,000 crore to 25,000 crore industry. Banning it would be a loss. Banning it would also be a loss from economic perspective, but also from the societal perspective. Why? Because the woman who wants to born a child, who want to carry a child of someone or to lend a womb to someone, has an inborn human right and fundamental right to do so. You cannot say that you cannot do it. Understanding what I mean to say? If there is government applying ban, what is the new proposal of the government? Government is against commercial surrogacy. ठीक है, commercial surrogacy also from NRI perspective. They are accepting that Indian couples can go for surrogacy. Indian couple, mind you, in the new bill is defined as married couple, not a couple which is defined by Supreme Court as a partner, live-in partner as well. Also, a gay partner cannot go for surrogacy. That's what the new bill is all about. So what you have to look into this issue is that what Supreme Court has said and what is the new bill all about. ठीक है, इसमें ना बैटरी खत्म हो रही है दीपक भैया, बैटरी. ठीक है, does anyone know the existing bill related to surrogacy? Is there any bill related to surrogacy? Any act? There is no act, but there is a bill. There is Assisted Reproductive Technologies Regulation Bill 2010, and the new bill which is being proposed is called Surrogacy Regulation Bill 2016, which the union government has come up with and proposed some changes. The previous bill or the laws were not banning surrogacy for the NRI couples. ठीक है? But the new bill has. So that was the reason why this issue was in news. What else? What are the issues?
Right of a child.
Right of a child.
Whether there was
Single parent. Okay. What else?
Citizenship of the child.
Citizenship of the child. Exactly. There was a point which has not yet been addressed, that if NRIs are coming to India in the pretext of surrogacy tourism or to have a child, in their country surrogacy is banned. So if an NRI in whose country surrogacy is banned, there are questions and legal cases where the child is not recognized, is not given citizenship. So all these loopholes are to be rectified. ठीक है? What else? अच्छा. Can there be any alternative to surrogacy? Why not adoption?
Child or
See, it is irony of society, where in India and in world there are a lot of orphan kids. Why to have a recourse like surrogacy and not adoption? So again, in this issue, what you should know is that with related to adoption, what our laws say and what are the new things which has come up in adoption. There are new things which has come in adoption. What are they? Adoption rules have become simpler and transparent and basically online. There is a system, IT-enabled system called Carings. ठीक है? कारा के बारे में किसने सुना है? कारा, सेंट्रल एडॉप्शन रिसर्च एजेंसी. CARA. It is under which ministry? Ministry of Women and Child Development. Is it an autonomous organization? Yes, it is an autonomous organization. From prelims perspective, what you should know is CARA. From prelims perspective, what you should know is under which ministry does it come? ठीक है? What are the new rules which we have laid down with respect to adoption? If not surrogacy, then adoption should be seen as a first alternative. ठीक है? What else? IVF treatment. Okay. ठीक है? If this question would come again, if it would come from more from paper 4 perspective, more from paper 4 perspective. ठीक है? Then what is the other issue in the current affairs booklet? There is another thing which I found out was who is speaking? Just raise your hand. Can you be louder? Is a welcome step. Complete ban is a welcome step. How can we support? You want to support?
It's written actually.
It's written, but it's written from different perspective. ठीक है? Complete ban or partial ban or allowing surrogacy should be your personal opinion, again on the basis of the objective issues given to you. If you ask anyone, or from a female perspective, right to bear a child is a fundamental right. You cannot place a ban that you cannot bear a child. If some woman wants to help her sister, suppose this happens, no? If the sister is infertile, see this issue you should see from infertility perspective. Infertility perspective, you don't have to see it from medical perspective. Infertility in India is having more social connotation, more oppressive connotation meted out to women who's infertile. So if women are being taken away this chance to become a mother, be it gestational mother, be it from traditional surrogacy, it would be against the fundamental right. The women condition from my perspective would be again degraded, because here जब तक औरत माँ नहीं बनती है तब तक she is not complete, she is not seen as a complete woman. So infertility you don't have to see from medical perspective, you have to see from social perspective. If techniques like surrogacy is bridging the gap between social fertility and biological fertility, then we should not prohibit such option.
And then the cases are known, then it should not be commercial.
Yes, that's what we want to do, that's what we ought to do, that regulations and rules should be such that there is no injustice or exploitation meted to the woman who is going to become a surrogate mother. That's what we have to do. See, complete ban is not a solution. Exploitation तो तब भी होगा, देवदासी system पे तो ban है, it's still being done. If you are banning surrogacy, there would be more chances of women being misused.
But it should be banned for if the couple are both of the couple are fertile, then it should be banned.
That's the law to decide, that's the Supreme Court to decide. I don't have any opinion on it because it's a controversial opinion. See, infertility also ना on medical grounds, you cannot say कि अभी fertile है बाद में नहीं हो सकते. Then is there a time limit? अच्छा, yeah, मतलब this would mean that you have to be so law perfect, your rules should be so perfect that it should apply to each and every circumstance कि इंडिया में तो अब तक नहीं हुआ, ठीक है. The thing is that you should not ban it because infertility from Indian perspective is not only biological but social infertility, ठीक है. So what you have to see in this issue is this assisted reproductive technology regulation bill, not yet an act, 2010, and this recently proposed bill surrogacy regulation bill 2016, ठीक है. Supreme Court's recent opinion on it is that they, what have they said in this regard? They didn't propose for a complete ban, ठीक है, they didn't propose. Partial ban in this case would be that surrogacy is allowed for commercial purposes or altruistic purposes only for Indian couple and not foreign couples, ठीक है. Adoption we have discussed. This issue very much in news. Recently Menka Gandhi said that sex determination of fetus can provide a solution to 3 things. 1, institutional deliveries. 2, it could check the sex ratio which is declining. And 3, it would check the injustice done to women on the ground of carrying a or giving birth to a female child. Now, what is it all about? It says, the move says, the proposed move or thought says that if we, as soon as a woman gets pregnant, she has to register the sex of the baby with the hospital. The hospitals, right now what is the law? That under PCPDNT Act, the ultrasound would not reveal the sex of the child. But this move proposes that if the woman is registering the sex of the child, it would check the injustice or oppression she has to go through. Then at least the family knows that if the sex of the child is girl, she cannot be killed. The fetus cannot be killed. Understanding? ठीक है. Third, इंस्टीट्यूशनल डिलीवरीज होंगी. What is the pros and cons of this new move? I want to ask from you. Pros तो हो गए, 3 हैं.
Very slow. Already your previous law was a failure. This law is even more onerous.
How? That's what I have to know.
Because it goes against the existing law.
चलो, not from a legal perspective, from social perspective. Think like a woman.
My family would know. The woman's family would know that she's carrying a child. There's greater chance they'd kill it. And you wouldn't even get to know.
It's not about killing also. Those 9 months she would have been free from all the torture. Now she would be resorted to more torture, more malnutrition, more undernutrition.
And she would be liable for the if something happens.
Yes. हाँ. Yes. 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 हाँ.
Firstly, women should have freedom of what she should do with her body. So, I mean, if she decides to abort the fetus and it happens to be a girl child, she would end up in jail.
Yeah, that's what.
So that discretion should be allowed
To the woman. Yes. That is from the different perspective that we will discuss after the cons. But what are the cons of this move? First, there would be a higher chance of she being again tortured more. At least for 9 months, what she was being deprived of, she would be now meted with more torture. Second, more chances of abortion. If not killing, movies देखी है ना, तेल डाल देते हैं सीढ़ियों पे, वो हो जाएगा. No, I'm not joking. It would happen. ठीक है. Third,
And the child that will be born,
hmm,
that
she would not be loved.
not even loved,
हाँ.
or mentally and psychologically.
Yes. हाँ, I agree.
More corrupt practices are medically.
More corrupt practices. हाँ, डॉक्टर से सर्टिफिकेट ले लेंगे that this child has a deformity, hence it should be aborted. ठीक है. What else? Yes, that would become a crime. Forceful miscarriages. So now are you just getting to know that how you have to deal and think from social angle? It's not that you have to actually become a woman to think. ठीक है? It's happening around you. You are seeing movies, you are living in a family belonging to Indian society. It's not that you don't know such things happen. हाँ.
Even if they are forced to give birth to a female child, there is no guarantee that they will treat it fairly and ultimately will rid of all the patriarchal mind.
Yes.
Now if you just remove the part of sex discrimination and everything else remains, institutional delivery or preventing, tracking the birth, then this will work.
This will work. Okay, I'll give you a good conclusion according to me if you have to summarize this issue and you have to write if it comes. See, Indian society has not yet developed in the mindset and attitude to accept this move. It is a fair move. You don't have to criticize the move. But what you have to say is that we are not yet prepared to accept this move in letter and spirit. In letter and spirit. By writing these words, letter and spirit, or telling it to you, what I mean is that such laws are progressive, but we are not prepared for it. But that doesn't call for that we should not welcome it. What we have to do is first that we have to change the attitude from where the problem is coming, the mindset. A human being is a human being first. A living thing is a living thing first. She is not a girl, he is not a boy. Every life form has a right to come in this world. That's what we have to strive for. हाँ, ठीक है? How would we change the mindset? यहाँ मैंने ना बहुत बोला था first session में. I don't want to repeat. Be the change you want to see in others. हाँ.
ये जो प्रॉब्लम आ रही है मोस्टली जो डेवलप हो चुकी सोसाइटी, जो टॉप क्लास सोसाइटी आर.
Yes, I am agreeing with you that
How would you change those mindsets who already in the things?
how, that's what I'm saying, that be the change you want to see in others. See, you all are having brothers and sisters, you all are having extended families. If you are seeing such practices, or even the gossips among women or your mothers or your sisters कि यार बेटा ही होना चाहिए, you should put a stop to it. Then only attitude would change. No, attitude would not change from a law. Please, come on, we've had laws, we are done with it. What Indian society needs is change in the attitude, change in the mindset.
But laws also change the attitude.
Huh?
Law formation also.
Yes, law is a changing reality.
If this act will be linked with some kind of incentive or the schemes, such as Beti Bachao Beti Padhao, the scheme
Yeah, but this problem, no, this problem is not at the grassroots level more. This problem is more at the middle and higher levels. ठीक है? चलो. The last, ये तो बहुत ही controversial है. Nationalism debate in the wake of JNU protests. What I have tried to do is that from examination point of view, what you should know in this debate per se, ठीक है? किसी को ये नहीं बोलना है that you are anti-national. You cannot stop anyone saying anything in favor of some other country without inciting in violence. I would justify my point that what does incitement to violence mean. What you have to see in this debate is all these things, that what the topics have been discussed or come on surface during this controversy. What is nationalism? What is patriotism? What do you mean by freedom of speech and expression? Mind you, this question has come in UPSC in 2014 in paper 2. With respect to, the question was, what do you mean by freedom of speech and expression? What are the reasonable restrictions behind it? Does hate speech comes under the freedom of speech and expression? And then they had linked with media or movies this freedom of speech and expression. So this topic is again very important, because Kanhaiya Kumar, if he was arrested under the charge of sedition. So what you should know is about sedition. What you should know is about hate speech, the difference between hate speech and freedom of speech and expression and sedition from examination point of view. Debates कर लेना चाय के time पे, but see, this is a serious examination. You cannot just say whatever you want to say in such controversial topics. So if I may ask you, what is nationalism? This question can be asked in paper 4, the way they ask, no, what is happiness? What does happiness mean to you? What is nationalism and what does nationalism mean to you? Say.
The traditional definition would be that having a feeling that your nation is superior to other nations.
This is not nationalism. That is jingoism. Anyone?
cannot be defined objectively, but more or less, if you be happy or if your attitude reflect the kind of attractiveness or the kind of feeling towards your nations, so that will be national.
Yes, you can say that. It is a shared. हाँ चलो you say. It's not an abstract concept. See, you don't have to be bookish. You have to be very correct. It's a shared feeling. You want to say? हाँ. No. The person behind you. हाँ, you want to say what is nationalism? Exactly. Yes. It is a shared feeling collectively held by people of a nation about their cultural and ethnic reality or existence, identity. Ajay, you want to write? It's a collective and shared feeling shared by a group of people or people of a nation of a common cultural and ethnic identity. ठीक है? Now, what is nationalism to you? And how is it different from patriotism?
So in India, it's a physical nation because definition, but it shouldn't be. We are not one ethnicity or one.
We are different nations but one state. Are you understanding it?
We could be country but not nation.
Huh? I am agreeing that we are different nation but single state.
That's why India is called nation in making.
Yes, that's why India is called or referred as nation in making, because we are not yet a nation.
Should we start with that first, explaining what is a nation?
No, no, I'm just making these terms clear to you because that's what you need to know from this controversy. Now the question would be, now you've got to know what is nationalism, then what do you mean by patriotism? These are the allegations which have been lamented to the JNU people, that you are not patriotic, you are anti-Indian. So then what is patriotism if you got to know what is nationalism?
Contribution to nation in anything.
Of your national
in anything.
feeling towards your behalf.
A selfless devotion towards a nation is patriotism.
Value-based love for a
Value-based, selfless is the right word.
Protecting the interest of the nation.
Protecting the interest but selfless protection. See, if according to me, I would define a soldier on the border a patriotic person, not having debates of patriotism in a university, a patriotic person. Understanding? We cannot call a patriotism or define patriotism by just saying what is patriotism. It is a selfless devotion and a feeling felt by a person towards a nation that he can do anything for it. That is a patriotism. Now,
Towards nation or state, patriotism means a selfless devotion towards nation or state.
It should be state.
towards a state. Yes, I agree. Not towards a nation, but towards a state. Yes. What else? Then what do you mean by freedom of speech and expression?
You have all the right to express yourself, but you have to see that by your expression, others.
See, you have to be very correct in your language. You don't have all the right. You have right to express your opinion, your feeling, your conviction, but within some limits.
You should not hurt someone else.
Yes. So that's what I'm giving training to you. That what if someone asks you in the interview board that what is freedom of speech and expression? You just cannot start giving absolute right or every right.
Hurt is not the right word. Hurt is a very
Huh?
wide word.
Hurt?
Hurt is not the right word. It's a very
That's what you have to do is that you have to remember the definition what is given in the constitution.
There is no right called right to be hurt. Anyone can be hurt with anything. Other person may say I am.
That's why we are not yet able to ban hate speeches. I'll come to it.
When such a question is asked in an isolated way, should it be, understood that it is implied that the definition comes from Article 91?
We have to. If it's explicitly asked that what do you mean, what does freedom of speech and expression mean to you? The way they asked in the happiness question in ethics paper. First they gave you this question, what is happiness? What does happiness mean to you? Was the second part of the question. What is happiness would be an objective definition. The same goes with freedom of speech and expression. That what do you mean by freedom of speech and expression would be the constitutional definition. What does freedom of speech and expression would mean? That what they want to see, that how do you define what is freedom of speech and expression. ठीक है?
But the other definition given by that fellow is also right.
Like?
Because nationalism, when Hitler was in power, Mussolini was in power, actually meant asserting your nation's superiority. You look at the definition of nationalism in Oxford Dictionary, it tell you the same thing.
It's not, see, that is not nationalism per se.
That's why the concept has evolved. That's why this guy was also right.
I agree, but then what nationalism should be. Because see,
If they ask me a definition, should I not include these things? Which were
then you should
defined?
quote these things that in the Treaty of Westphalia that these definitions would come.
That's why I said, it's a traditional idea of nationalism.
You have to quote.
In the textbook definition that is given, nationalism is.
See, are you agreeing on this that freedom of speech and expression is defined in the Constitution? Yes?
I'm not
Huh.
debating on that.
Okay.
I'm just asking.
You should refer in which context you are defining nationalism. You should refer the context in which you are defining then freedom of speech and expression, because different nations or different histories have seen different meanings to nationalism. ठीक है, or freedom of speech and expression. Indian constitution would have different parameters on what it is judging as freedom of speech and expression, and some other countries' constitution would have different meaning. ठीक है, but then again I should re-emphasize that you are sitting for a UPSC examination. You are aiming to become a civil servant. Civil servants are required to abide by the constitution of the country. What is nationalism in Indian perspective, that you have to say. That does not mean Hindutva. I'm just making myself clear. Acha, what do you mean by freedom of speech and expression should be seen from the constitutional sense? Can anyone tell me if this question would come from prelims perspective? They would ask you the restrictions on which it is being imposed. What are the restrictions? हाँ, learn कर लेना पेपर के लिए. You have to learn this from 2016 perspective. Freedom of speech and expression and freedom of religion can be asked in prelims. ठीक है? What is hate speech? What is hate speech? किस context में आया था? Come on यार, मतलब this question has been asked by UPSC. You cannot be so oblivion to it. हाँ. Hate speech came into news in 2013 and 14 before the elections. Hate speech is always has been looked in India from the political angle, that before the elections the politicians incite the feelings of the people or generate hate among the people towards different parties. Polarization. In India, what you should know is, from exam point of view, is this banned? No. What has been the opinion of Supreme Court on this issue? Twice it has said something on hate speech, but in different light. In 2013, Supreme Court said that we should have limitations on what politicians are saying in the interest of the people. In the second 2014 or 15, it said that we cannot ban hate speech, because if we ban hate speech, we cannot define what is hate from one person's perspective to the other person's perspective. That is again re-emphasizing that they are giving space to freedom of speech and expression. Hate or ostracization or defaming could have different interpretations from person to person. So Supreme Court has not banned it, but what has it done is that it has asked the government and the Election Commission and the Law Commission to frame the guidelines on which speeches can be defined as hate speech or not. ठीक है? That is from exam. हाँ, international ना. Now what is sedition? सबने न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ा, एडिटोरियल्स पढ़े, बहुत डिबेट्स करी. From examination point of view, did you have interest that should I know what is all about sedition? No. अच्छा हाँ, केदारनाथ जजमेंट. ओके, चलो You've read it. One point. Some other. Exactly. Then.
Ma'am, actually Kedarnath judgment is construed in narrow terms. It is only related with that species. Sedition is a bigger thing. That if then the terrorists come here and wage a war against the state, or the homegrown terrorists group, that is also sedition. That not only Kedarnath.
Do you want to write the definition of sedition? Huh? Right. Because I am making your task easier.
124.
Section 124A. Okay, you've also read the editorials, fine, from UPSC perspective. The three things, Kedarnath. Huh?
Speech that invoke the violence.
Violence, yes. In broad perspective, yes. Any speech which is inciting or attempt to incite. 2 words. Inciting or attempt to incite violence is what is called as sedition. If you want to write down the whole 3-4 line definition, I can dictate. You want to write?
Disaffection against the state.
I'll make you write everything. Whoever by words, either spoken or written, or by signs or by visible representation, or otherwise brings or attempt to bring hatred or contempt or excite or attempt to excite disaffection towards the government, established by law, shall be punished with what is the maximum imprisonment? Life imprisonment or fine, life imprisonment plus fine, or jail for maximum up to 3 years. ठीक है? Gandhi ji used to take so much of pride, no, when he was booked under sedition. But at that point of time, the government was not Indian government, the British government. ठीक है? So that is what do you mean by sedition. Now the question would be, from prelims point of view, that is sedition defined in the constitution? Suppose they give you this statement, there is a provision of sedition in the constitution. No? Sure? Okay. It's not there. It's there in IPC section 124A. ठीक है? Okay, cool. If the question would come from mains perspective, what you have to know is the case, the judgment, the Kedarnath Singh versus State of Bihar 1962. And any other incident which you remember that any person, Asim Trivedi, a cartoonist, then also a person or a poet in Tamil Nadu, Kovam. He wrote on what topic? Liquor. He was also charged or slapped with sedition.
One activist was against government for Coca-Cola also charged with sedition.
Okay. So such examples should be known to you. What is sedition should be known to you. Exactly what does it mean? Is there any provision in the constitution? No. Yes, there is a provision in our IPC section 124A. Now we are ending this debate because JNU protest is nothing coming out of such topics that we have discussed. who is anti-national, who is national, I don't want to get into it because that is not required. Okay? What we did was from examination point of view, that's the whole idea of Vision IS, not to indulge into debates and what is right and what is wrong, but what you can write and what you can speak is what our intention is. Okay? हाँ, questions? Next. Okay? Because it's a small topic. And that too from a Delhi High Court perspective, not a national perspective. Okay? If you want to discuss, we can discuss after this.